Dr. Tushar Patel, thank you so much for being with us on ITV Gold. I hope you're doing well.
Same here. Thank you so much, Aditi.
Of course, having you here, I have so many questions for you, so let's dig right into it. Today, we're looking at about 6 million coronavirus cases in the United States, 183,000 deaths at least. Globally, we're looking at 25.3 million cases of coronavirus with 847,000 deaths. The CDC right now is projecting 200,000 deaths by September 19th. My question to you is this projection true? And if so, how should we be mentally processing this?
Definitely, it's true because the way we are getting the weekly reports from the CDC and NIH, the number of infections are still rising in many states: California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, North Carolina, Texas. So I think we still have concerning cases coming from those states. And as long as we are getting those numbers higher in the stats, we will definitely have that 200,000 reach very soon.
Okay, so let's looking at these cases that are surging. We were just talking about the South and West last time we had you on the network with us about how California, Florida, Texas were really surging in cases. Now we're seeing that trend move to the Midwest, to South Dakota, North Dakota, to Iowa. My question to you is, what is this movement of the spread of this virus? And why is it happening that when we handle one state or a couple of states, the other states start to show a lot of surges in cases?
Because the problem in this country is to contain. People are still traveling freely. Now the air travel is totally free. By road travel is very free. Summer is going on right now in the US. So the concerning thing is travel. People travel very freely from one state to another state. And they don't report if they are sick, or they don't contain themselves. They don't quarantine themselves for 14 days if they're coming from those states back to the state who doesn't have enough cases. So I think it's a catch-22. You have to ensure that you report if you are sick. That's number one. And quarantine yourself. That's number two. Unless you do that strategy, this will go into circle. And I think this will become a huge problem when we have fall and winter months coming up upon us.
Wow. I want to discuss this fall and the winter month upcoming, but a question to you before that is, has the curve flattened in most of the country right now? The curve that we've been talking about this whole time, where is it at when you're looking at the entire nation?
So right now, tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and entire Northeast, I think from Virginia down to Maine, we are in good shape. I would not say for more than 15 states does not have the flattening curve statistics right now. So those are the states we have concern. And I think those are the big states, Midwest and western part of the country. Those are the big states, California, Texas, Florida, Georgia. Those are the big states where we have numbers are not getting, the curve is not being flattened. So those are the concerning things for this country in response to the pandemic.
You just mentioned certain states. I want to share some numbers here. California is looking at more than 706,000 cases. Texas is looking at 629,000 cases. Florida is at 623,000 cases. And New York, where the first epicenter was, 434,000 cases. Why is this happening still? And, we're hearing in the news that these states are getting better now. The positivity rates are going down. Are these states out of danger, or should we be concerned about this rising number of cases?
So as long as you keep that social distancing guideline in mind, face coverings, avoid close contact with people, avoid big gatherings, stay home if you are sick, practice good hand hygiene, overall hygiene, you should be good. However, there are some states, and elections are coming upon us. There are so many gatherings going on, and people are not following the guidelines as given by the CDC and the state government. And if you don't follow the guidelines, this is no magic. You have to follow the guidelines. This is a pandemic. It's a worldwide issue. And if you cannot control that in one place, you're not going to get a successful outcome in the world. So I think people need to understand that this is a serious matter. Still, it's pandemic still going on. I know you can do some outdoor activities with some restrictions, but you cannot be doing full fully like you used to do in January and February before the pre-pandemic era.
What would you advise to these people that are living in California, Florida? What would you tell them right now?
I would sincerely tell them to avoid public places, avoid close contacts, don't go to the bar, don't go to the restaurants, inside restaurants. If the outdoor restaurants are available, take that choice, make that available for yourself. But common sense approach is my message to all. If you want to be a successful in defeating this pandemic, that is the only way we can do it. Otherwise, this will go in circle and circle and circle, and I think we will not be successful in controlling the pandemic.
You know, the White House response coordinator, Dr. Deborah Birx, has said that we should not wait until the vaccine to do the right thing. And that message has gone across the country. What is this right thing that she's talking about? And she believes that the community spread can be stopped. Is that true?
Absolutely, it can be stopped, but people, each and every one of us has to do our part. This is not a one community or one city or one state issue. This is a global issue, and everybody has to do their own part by avoiding close contacts. Face coverings is a must. Good hygiene, and stay home if you are sick. If you do this basic common sense things, I think we are not far away of getting this pandemic defeated in next few months.
You know, I want to go into the vaccine right now because there are a lot of questions and concerns about it. Its timing, who is going to receive it first. There are so many pharmaceutical companies involved in it. What kind of insight could you give us? And, you know, what phase is the vaccine trial on right now?
So let me start with the basic of vaccine. Usually, in the old days, the vaccine used to take 10 to 15 years. In the modern era, it takes about 4 to 6 years. The fastest vaccine came in the world was a mumps vaccine, which took 4 years. So we have a lot of challenges in front of us as far as the vaccine goes, because the vaccine has to be safe, has to be vetted properly. It has to be given to enough people to ensure the protection is there, and also the older age population has to be tested properly in order to make sure that those population is safe to receive the vaccination. So in my opinion, with live attenuated vaccine, means the weakened version of the live vaccine, which this vaccine will be for COVID-19, I originally told it's going to take 12 to 18 months, and I think we will probably need that time, because this vaccination has to be at least 50% effective in clinical trials for us to start vaccinating people in this country. And if we don't do that, I think that will not be a safe vaccine, that will not be efficacious vaccine, and that will be a risky for our population here in this country.
Are there enough people involved in these trials, or is there still more needed, according to you?
So phase 3 clinical trials, 30,000 people are enrolled. Not everyone received the third trial vaccination yet. It may take up to a few months before the phase 3 clinical trial is done. And after that, they have to do the results. They have to find what outcome came of the phase 3 clinical trial. That may take anywhere from 2 to 4 months. So in my opinion, by the time all these things are done, the processes are completed, vetted, vaccination safety is done, efficacy is completed, I think end of the year, early next year is the earliest we hope for the vaccine in this country.
Wow. And who would receive it first, according to you? Would it be the frontliners?
So the frontliners, the people with immunocompromised status, people over 65 years of age with comorbid conditions, diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, all those risk population will get the vaccination first. So, and also one tricky thing about this vaccine, everyone in the world is looking for the same vaccine, first time ever. So I think this is going to be a challenging to have billions of people getting the same vaccine. And another challenge is, I don't even know if this is going to be one time or twice a vaccine. So is it 2 dose or 1 dose? At this time, nobody can tell. Maybe 2 dose, it may even become more complicated in this scenario.
Wow, so many uncertainties still, so many unknowns. What about the therapeutic treatments? Is there any more insight that we have? Any new
So,
medications?
so lately there is no news about the therapeutic. We need something like Tamiflu for influenza, which has not come in rise in the research or the clinical trials for those medications. I think my best guess is vaccine may or may not come in a timely manner, but if we come with some strong viral response medication, just like Tamiflu we have for influenza, I think we will be in good shape. But that's far away from where we are right now. So
What
it may
about
take few more months.
what about remdesivir, Dr. Patel, and its results?
So remdesivir is good for inpatient, for patients who are in hospital with serious conditions under clinical monitoring in ICU setting, where the physician or the healthcare provider can manage them. Remdesivir works for them. There are some other medications, off-label medications, works on those individuals, but that's not safe enough to use for the mild illness or to prevent the disease.
Understood that. Now I want to go into one of the biggest questions that's being asked across the nation, and I have to ask you that. Schools, the education system right now is debating what to do. We're looking at more than a dozen states that are reporting cases among young Americans. My question to you is this a dangerous part that we're looking at? Parents are so confused right now about sending their children back to school or not. How should we understand this, and what is your medical advice on this?
So my 3 decades of public health experience says that during pandemic, we should not be sending kids to school. We should not be sending children to colleges and campuses. One semester from September to early March, we definitely can do virtual learning. There is nothing we're going to lose by doing that. I think if we can do that, my message to all the parents and the school officials and colleges is to give an option to kids to have virtual learning this first semester. I think things definitely will change from March onwards next year, but I think next 6 months will be very crucial if we can help our community, help our country to reduce the spread and contain the disease. I think we'll definitely call off the pandemic by early next year.
Dr. Patel, what is needed in these schools or in the system to make it completely safe for coronavirus? And I'm not asking about just students wearing a mask, which is obviously a needed thing. But what else is needed there for us to be completely functional and safe?
So I think before the vaccination, if we have the herd immunity, if we have 60 to 70% of our individuals are infected from this pandemic or COVID-19, then we are safe to open the schools. But we are not at that point yet, and nothing else can be done because the school is the highly populated areas, highly populated buildings, where we have to ensure that they don't come into close contacts, and that is highly impossible in that kind of setting. So I think that the message should be avoid in-person school, avoid physical contacts and going to school if possible right now. Do the virtual learning if possible. And I think in 6 months we'll see a different picture.
What about hybrid learning, Dr. Patel? That's also something that we're seeing across the nation where they spend 2 days in the school and then 3 days at home. Is that helpful?
So that can happen in the middle school, high school, the kindergarten level. That should be good. College campuses, again, they are at risk because if you have a congregate setting where the students are in the campus, they are walking around and going in the colleges all the time, no matter if they have 1 day or 2 day school, that will not help.
Yes, for sure. And I'm sure the large gatherings and the parties which some students have been suspended about is not helping the case, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely.
Dr. Patel, if I was to ask you what's your biggest concern right now, what would you say?
My biggest concern right now, we are going off from the summer months to fall month. September coming up, the flu season will start. Luckily, I just heard today that the flu vaccines will be available sometime in September. The orders has been placed, will be distributed to the providers and the hospitals very soon, and people will have a chance to get the flu vaccine. So coming the flu season and with this pandemic COVID-19, if we can combine these two, that could be a deadly combination. So my advice and my sincere request to all people over 65 years of age, people with comorbid medical conditions, people who are immunocompromised should get the flu vaccine at the earliest as soon as they can contact the doctor, make the appointment, and get the vaccine. That would be the first thing and the most concerning thing right now from now until October, November timeframe.
Do you see the flu season, and I'm glad you brought this up, do you see it directly impacting coronavirus and its spread in some way? Is it possible for them to have any kind of interaction?
Absolutely, because it's a viral disease, and it's very difficult to differentiate between COVID-19 and influenza. So it becomes very tricky for the medical providers to make a diagnosis. And at that point, the resources, getting the testing for influenza, getting the testing for COVID-19, what to treat, who to treat, all those things are very challenging for our physicians.
What does the audience then need to watch out for this flu season that's coming up?
I think people with comorbid conditions, with diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, heart disease, people who are 65 years of age, people who are taking cancer treatment, all those people are very at high risk. So those people needs to watch and should get the vaccination first without arguing that I don't take vaccine, flu vaccine makes me sick. It doesn't make you sick. It probably will help you. It will definitely help in lowering your risk of getting the infection.
Definitely. Another question I have to ask you is, do you believe in a national mask mandate right now? I know a lot of medical professionals are asking for it. What kind of masks are good, or should we just have any face coverings as long as our face is covered?
So I have been telling this, any face covering, as long as you don't share your droplets and you don't spread the disease with the respiratory droplets, you are good. You can even use the handkerchief, you can even use any cotton face covering, should be good enough if you are in the public places. The key here is to avoid close contact with people whom you don't know if they have the disease or not. If you're meeting with your family, if you think they are safe, they don't have a disease, it's okay to meet with those 8-10 individuals in your backyard. But avoid close contact in public places. That's my message.
Dr. Patel, till now, it's been about 6 months of this pandemic and more for certain other parts of the world. Do you think coronavirus measures and impact, has it been handled right? A lot of health experts are saying that the United States didn't do a great job in tackling this disease and its spread. What is your comment on that?
So when this pandemic hit back in February, March, we were not prepared, and unfortunately this country, we should have been prepared for this kind of outbreaks in the first place. Unfortunately, our healthcare systems, our healthcare agencies, and the federal government response was not that great initially, and we are probably facing this right now. This challenge of containment is due to that. So in my opinion, the initial response was not that great. The collaboration between the federal government and the state and the local level was not there. We were not prepared overall for the pandemic, in my opinion.
And that's a very important aspect to have it. Do you think that we're going to have another surge in winter? Right now we're talking about the flu season. We're just hitting September. December, November are not too far away. What is your take on that?
So if the pandemic COVID-19 virus mutates, definitely we're going to have a surge like we have the influenza every year. Yeah. Let's hope that the virus, the COVID-19 does not mutate and remains the same, so we know how to treat, what to do, and once the vaccination's available, it will be effective. If the virus mutates, then we will have a huge challenge in the world, because we may get a second surge, we get a new virus strain, and I think that will become more challenging when we have the influenza in the month of fall, from October till December.
This second surge that you're talking about, Dr. Patel, is this going to impact the states just how it started? For example, the tri-state was hit really hard for us, was the epicenter. Will that same process happen again if the second surge happens?
Absolutely, and we have to take some proactive measures now. If we are hearing, let's say, a second wave is imminent, I think we have to ensure that we shut down those offices, we shut down those travel modes. We have to take some precautions now, earlier rather than later. So I think we may have to shut down if we have the second wave with newer strain, new mutated strain of COVID-19 or COVID virus, then it's definitely is going to be a different thing we have to think about.
Wow. I just have a couple more questions left here. Another question that's been really popular right now is protests that are happening nationwide. There's obviously a war with racism, a war with police brutality. People are coming out on the streets, people are doing demonstrations. What's your advice to these protesters and demonstrators? And do we have to be a little bit vigilant of coronavirus while their protest is going on?
Absolutely, because the pandemic is still on. We should not be doing any public gatherings right now, no matter what the issue is, racism or political issues. I think we all can protest virtually, we can write, we can do many other ways. There is no reason for any of us to do anything in public at this time. That is my message. And I think it's foolish things to do right now, because you, not only yourself, but you are putting your relatives, your neighborhood, your community at risk. So I think if we can avoid all those gatherings, those protests, I think we can wait 6 more months to do protest. I think we should avoid those kind of things.
Dr. Patel, I know you're joining us from New Jersey. Today, the governor of New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy, has announced that he's opening indoor dining, as well as the gyms are opening. There's also news about theaters opening up to 25% capacity. What is your comment on that? Should we be doing it?
I think those things are well measured steps. 25% capacity with 150 people in the theater, entire theater. I think those steps are good, and we can safely open by doing those steps. I think indoor dining with 25% capacity, I think we are ready to do that in this area. I think our infectivity rate is almost less than 1% in this area, and we are safe to do those kind of steps as we speak.
So the key here is getting an infection rate that is so low so you can actually reopen the economy, if I'm getting you right.
Yes.
Yes,
and I think it is time, because I think New Jersey had, in New Jersey and New York both had the strictest measure governors took. So I think it's time we should be rewarded for that, because we have proved ourselves that our infectivity rate is less than 1% in both states.
But that should not be happening in the states that are surging. I just
Absolutely
want to get your
not. Not
comment
in
on that.
California, Texas, or Florida, or any other states where they have 10,000, 15,000 cases per week coming out.
Yes, for sure. Well, this was really great having you on ITV Gold, Dr. Patel. I would love for you to give one last message to our audience.
My message is stay safe, avoid close contact, always wear face coverings if you are in public places. Good hand hygiene. We have been telling this since the pandemic began in February. If you're sick, stay home. And I think you still can do so many things without meeting people. So you take advantage of those things. A lot of virtual things you can do. You can go for a walk. Stay safe. I think if you stay safe for next 3 months, I'm pretty confident that 2021 will bring good health and happiness to all.
Wow. We're all hoping for that, Dr. Patel. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you so much.